record. And hey everyone, and welcome to today's live episode of Langerr at the mic. This is a very special episode because this is our first Roundtable episode. We are joined by two very awesome guests in Ryan Silver and Ethan Myers. And today we'll get to you guys in a sec. But today we'll just be talking a little bit about NHL, the NHL Qualifier so far, and maybe we'll get into some NFL stuff later. I don't know, but we have enough stuff for the NHL Qualifier stuff. So it's gonna be fun, and I'm hoping that this will be a regular thing. So, gentlemen, how's it going?
Fantastic! It's great to be here.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic! It's great to be here.
Fantastic! It's great to be here. Great. I'm glad we got that out of the way. Yes, good. I'm glad. Yes. So, anyway, like I said, we're gonna just start with our early headlines for the NHL qualifiers so far. So, let's start with Ethan, since you have video and Ryan doesn't. So Ethan gets priority.
Sure, absolutely. I think coming into this the qualifiers, I was hearing a lot about McDavid having taken the time off, that he was able to really gain a sort of step. And I couldn't imagine McDavid really being able to improve his play that much, but especially after his performance last night, I'm blown away. I think that is absolutely going to be one of the biggest headlines going forward. Is McDavid has yesterday where he was able to hit that bat, or the second goal, where he was able to bat that puck out of the air, take it all the way, roof it backhand. That was absurd. And I don't think you're going to have many people being able to stop McDavid from being McDavid at this point.
Yeah, just to add my little 2 cents to that, I think I actually saw something on social media, like just a real, I don't know what Twitter account said that Connor McDavid doesn't inspire the guys that he plays with.
Interesting.
Like, that's just a really
goals. I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Like, just he's not, like, he doesn't skate fast enough. He's not godly enough. I don't know. Like, but that was like, I saw that. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, what do you like? Is that like coming from like the production side of things? Like you're expecting his depth to produce?
Sounds like it's coming from rival fans is what it's coming from.
It wasn't. No, it was a person. Like, it wasn't like bar stool or anything like that. Like, it was a person, right?
Right.
Just, and I don't know. I saw that and I'm just like, yeah, no. So,
well, they don't watch hockey, so clearly
lead by example. I mean, what do you need to do more than go out, score a hat trick, second of the qualifiers, only to be beaten by Carolina?
And he scored 2.
I don't think you're going to get better than that.
He scored also a goal or 2 in the first game, right? In game 1.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yep.
He is a god on ice. Well, not to. I'm going to jump to the other end of that. I'm going to jump to the other end of the hat trick here. I think the biggest highlight so far is the Carolina Hurricanes and Svechnikov.
Yes. The Hurricanes are that team that no one Hurricanes and Islanders are the 2 best teams that no one likes to talk about. Talked about the least.
I love the Hurricanes, man. They are just so much fun to watch. That gritty team that just knows how to just grind out those games, man. That I if you were to say, is Andrei Svechnikov going to score a hat trick, in the next fiscal year? I don't know if that's going to happen, but boom, he throws it in his freaking second playoff game. Unbelievable. Now, not to take anything away from McDavid, but that was one of the most impressive performances I've seen so far. And I think Carolina is something to be reckoned with. So we got to keep a closer eye on it.
In what world is watching grindy hockey entertaining, Ryan?
Well, I think it's also entertaining to watch Carolina Hurricanes, who can win with no matter who's in nets. Whether it's Mrazek or Zamboni driver, they couldn't with anyone in nets.
What do we have? 5 minutes in, 4 minutes into the podcast,
of course, and we haven't even gotten started.
We're both Leaf fans.
Of course. So I have to stand my ground here. I have to stand my ground against you guys. So, and you know what? I will say that I don't like the Hurricanes because of the whole Aho situation. But you know what? Still, I totally agree with you. Hurricanes, awesome, fun team to watch. I am pulling a little bit for the Rangers in that series because I love Henrik Lundqvist, but again, just totally agree with you on that. Svechnikov,
best looking man in hockey.
Yeah, he's Lundqvist. I mean, but
absolutely.
But
Carolina is looking like they did last year in the playoff runs.
Yeah, just Carolina.
So if they run into a good team again, if they sort of fall apart like they did against Boston, but boy, they're looking sharp right now.
They're built for playoff hockey. They got yeah. I mean, the Flyers lost to beat Boston, and that's one of my.
Not what I'm referring to, Langerr, but
Anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later. But I
no,
would
we
say
won't.
anyway. But what my biggest surprises are, my biggest headlines, and that's kind of to coincide with yours, Mr. Myers. So Connor McDavid and Carey Price don't deserve their teams. Because I believe a team of Carey Price and Connor McDavid alone could be a Stanley Cup contender. You have Connor McDavid scoring all the goals, Carey Price stopping all the pucks, and you win and you can compete for a Stanley Cup right there.
If Carey Price doesn't deserve his team, he shouldn't have taken a $10 million a year salary.
Yeah, and also I forgot that it's 2018 still. So I mean,
Also true. But he looked very sharp throughout these playoffs.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if you guys watched the Habs game yesterday, but
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So we can talk about that. So, just Carey Price played he's the calmest player on the ice in the midst of whatever madness is going on. Particularly that I don't know if it was the 5-on-3 or 5-on-4 at that point, but the Pittsburgh power play. You know, there was a scramble in front of the net. There was like 3 rebounds and Price is just there chilling. Just the puck hits him, and then he just stretches out a little bit to his left. Puck hits him. No big deal. Covers it up. Right. Well, everyone's just like flying everywhere, and the Habs defense is just all out of sorts, and Pittsburgh's just attacking with whatever they can, throwing the kitchen sink and the cabinet and the dining room table all at the Canadians, and Price is just there, stopping the puck. No big deal.
Like someone might be able to lobby towards McDavid that he doesn't seem to inspire his team. I think it would be very difficult to say that about Carey Price, at least his play right now. He is giving them every opportunity they can to win. And what they showed with yesterday's game is that the team probably isn't going to be good enough to squeak the series out. But in a 5-game series, if Carey Price can get you, or can play like he's been doing and get you 3 games, you can find yourself in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's why Pittsburgh and a lot of teams have been not liking this qualifier setup because, if they run into a hot goalie or if they are a little bit rusty and they could get in trouble. Who knows?
Absolutely. Especially to a team who is 10 points below the playoff spot.
I find this very.
To get in here.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I find Ryan with a dark screen right now and laughing at nothing is very, very suspicious.
I'm sorry. No, I'm laughing at exactly what Ethan said. It's just like all you need to do is have a global outbreak of a virus. Freaking being at 500 that late in the season and win 3 games. To get up in the playoffs, baby. That's all you need to have happen.
I think there was a reasonable debate whether they would have won 3 in their last 10 or so games anyways.
Oh yeah, well, you know what? They won 1 more game than the Toronto Maple Leafs did in these qualifier rounds, and they scored 5 more goals than the 4 more goals than the Toronto Maple Leafs did in this qualifier round. So
this video is going to look really bad as soon as we finish at 4 p.m. and the Leafs start playing and they go up 3-0 first period against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Then you're just going to be eating your words. That would be like saying that the Pittsburgh
Penguins at least I didn't predict that the Oilers and the Penguins would sweep in their series. So
yeah, I don't know who would do such a thing, but they know nothing about hockey, and I would never listen to their opinions.
Anyway, let's move along here. So so we got through the early headlines. Now I want to talk about what surprised you the most so far in these early games of the qualifiers. What surprised you guys the most so far?
I think what has surprised me has been I was expecting to see playoff caliber hockey. There's something to be said about Russing sort of getting back into it, but I think we all know that the NHL playoffs are a totally different beast than the regular season, and I'm not seeing a lot of play that would be indicative of it's playoff time, it's time to get going.
Really?
I think that sort of mode of thinking is really going to be kicked in when we get later in the series, but right now the aggression, the fighting in front of the nets, I think that's just totally missing. And if Matthew Tkachuk running debatably Scheifele into the boards like that is one of the biggest sort of aggressive highlights that we're seeing so far, I don't think we're seeing the sort of playoff hockey that we're really accustomed to.
I tend to, Ryan, unless you want to clue in on that, I tend to disagree. I think that given that you have no fans in the stands, and given that these players have been off for 4 months, I still believe that this is honestly as intense as it can get because you're getting paid millions of dollars a year. It's time to bring it. And for whatever reason, you can bring it to another level when you get to the playoff anyways. Why aren't you bringing it now? That's all I've got to say. I mean, fair, but I still think that the pace is still really good. I think the pace in these games is great. It's still really fast. You have the Western teams playing physical like they usually do, and
Right, sure. Yeah.
I think that honestly, it's again, given the situation, I think it's the product on the ice is as good as can be given the situation that that the NHL is faced with.
Let's demand more. We are fans. We're here for it. Ooh, that's a tough look, Ryan. Thanks for bringing that up.
All right, Ryan, what do you have to say about that? Besides showing Ethan being wrong right in his face.
Okay, well, Ethan, I mean, I'm here all day to prove Ethan wrong, but I have to agree with him on the aggression. It hasn't been what you'd hope for. But on the other end, I'm not surprised about it. I actually expected this latency. So I was expecting them to be a little slow out of the gates. And we're going to debate the crap out of this afterwards.
Oh, yeah. We'll debate it if you just turn your mic up a little bit louder, please, also.
I can try to. Is this any better?
A little bit better. Thank you.
Okay. I will just speak louder. I'm a loud person. So,
good.
But yeah, like it hasn't been as aggressive and fun. But I believe that rust is going to shake off real quick. I think we're going to start seeing some very heavy hitting games. And I'm looking forward to. And technically speaking, we haven't even reached the playoffs. This isn't technically the playoffs yet, right? So
technically not. You're right.
Technically not. So I guess this is all just a warm up for what's about to come, and I'm very excited for that because I have absolutely nothing else to do with my day.
Perfect. And just along those lines, so what do you think your biggest surprise has been so far in these playoffs?
That's a great question. Probably how. I mean, part of me wants to say that first game in Chicago with Chicago and Edmonton. But I'm really surprised on how, for the most part, how close a lot of these games have been. I thought that you'd find certain games just getting blown out the water, like some 4-0 shutouts of teams that just weren't ready, or maybe teams that were even struggling with COVID. That behind the scenes there, but I'm really happy that we haven't seen any big outbreaks yet. I'm a little worried that we're going to. Sorry,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean that actually goes right in line with what I was gonna say in terms of a surprise. I think I thought the Wild didn't have much of a chance in that series against the Canucks. And watching the highlights yesterday, they came out flying in that game against the Canucks. And I think Markstrom kind of was really weak on that first goal. I forget who it was, defenseman, blanking out who was the first goal by the Wild there. But either way, Stalock played a great game in that in that game one against the Canucks, and the Wild power play was just cooking, and it was too much to handle for the Canucks, and they couldn't ever really bounce back, and the Wild shut them out 3-0. I think that was a really big surprise, and also I would say I knew that the Flyers would be good, and then in the exhibition game they also were good against Pittsburgh. I think that was more about Pittsburgh being rusty, as we're going to talk about a little bit in a couple of segments here. But I think that I didn't think that the Flyers would be able to take care of business like they did against Boston, the round robin. And I think the Flyers will be, like you said, along with Carolina, I think the Flyers will be one of the most intriguing teams to watch in these playoffs, where, they don't have that much of a recent track record of being dangerous in the playoffs, but I think they are really on the upswing right now, and they'll definitely be
finally, right? After bubbling for what seems like a decade, they're finally at a point where
back
they
in
might be really able to make some waves.
The Giroux and Kimmo Timonen and Matt Reed days, and the days with Sergei Bobrovsky beating Pittsburgh in the first round there, they fell off, and then now I think the Flyers, it's safe to say that they're back as a maybe not Stanley Cup contender, but definitely a team that can make some noise in these playoffs. And
they're
maybe
a team to watch for. Absolutely. Yeah, I think what they're going to do is surprise a lot of people when they get into the playoffs. I think a lot of people expect them to be good, but I think they're a really high ceiling team. I don't think I would ever pick them to go that far, but honestly, if a team's going to make me eat my words, it might just be the Flyers on this one.
Are you sure it's not the Habs or the
Oh, I guarantee it's not the Habs. Oh, I absolutely guarantee it's not the Habs.
For context of the viewers, all of the one being my mother, my profile picture is currently Ethan's predictions of the West there. So
thanks, Ryan, because it hasn't been that way for the last 10 minutes. Okay, well, it's confirmed. It's confirmed.
Those are Ethan's predictions. Ethan's.
That's not even all of my predictions. What I fear is that you didn't show my Leafs call, which I think deserves to be shown. I don't think you're doing me justice.
And you know what? Let's make that a segue into start talking about the awesome performance by the Toronto Maple Leafs this past Sunday in Game 1 against the Blue Jackets.
All right,
So,
moving on to the next subject.
no, let's stay on this subject. So I know you guys are Leaf fans. I know you guys want to talk some Leafs. So let's talk about it. Let's start. Let's have you guys talk about what you thought of this Toronto Maple Leafs performance against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
I think for me, going into this series, I thought the biggest question was, are the Leafs going to continue their drought of inconsistencies, or they're going to be able to finally sort of get their stuff together and perform to their capabilities, even close to the top of their capabilities every game? And I think the first game tells us one thing and one thing only: the consistency woes are not gone. They came out flat. I think all of their big boys up front were relatively invisible. I think you had a couple of good chances from Matthews, but Mitch Marner and John Tavares as a line pairing just were not performing. Matthews spent a lot of his time in his own end, and when you're asking William Nylander to defend, it's very much like asking Alexander Ovechkin to defend, except you're not even going to get the hitting. I think Freddie played a fantastic game, and if he can keep that up, then I think the Leafs have a real shot in the series, and I think they continue to have that. The problem is you've got to show up and play the games. You've got 4 games left maximum to do that. You better bring it in at least 3 of them, because if you don't, you're not going to make it to the next round, and you're going to find yourself in a very similar position than the Lightning were last year.
Ryan, what do you think?
You said it. I mean, inconsistency is the name of the game when it comes to the Leafs. Now, to be fair, my biggest fear going in was Frederik Andersen. How is he going to come out? Is he going to have some rust? And he actually was one of the shining parts of this game, which was awesome to see. I think that if we could continue to see that Freddie, I can't imagine the Leafs are going to be that well. I mean, at least not score 1 goal every game and be in the game at this point. But my biggest concern is what happened with Marner, and just like what happened, and Tavares as well. It's just it's like they weren't even in the game. It's just with all that ice time, nothing. They generated absolutely nothing. You want to know how many shots on goal Marner had last game? 0. Mitch Marner, 0 shots on goal. That's a problem, guys. Now, I was gonna say Dermott had a lot more than him, but he technically had 0. Now he had I'm pretty sure, I haven't seen the stat, but I'm pretty sure he had 8 shots. 0 of them
matter.
Yeah. 0 of them were on net. Why is Dermott getting that many opportunities? I mean, as a defenseman, I guess there's an argument to be made, but it was just disappointing to watch. It was.
Marner's always been a pass first kind of player.
Yeah, that's fair. Very fair.
But
very fair.
He can still fire it on the net, and he should. You've got to put pucks on the net.
He had that opportunity.
You've got to test the goal.
Was it late in the second where he had a shot, and he, again, being the Marner he is, tried to find what would have been a higher percentage shot, but he couldn't feed it through on time. I forget who was the stick. I think it was Tavares.
Well, something interesting that I saw, if I may cut you off, if you look at people's ice time, if you look at the Leafs forwards ice time, I think personally that Matthews was the best forward, at least in the highlights I saw. And it's maybe not fair for me to analyze as much as you guys, because I only saw the highlights
He was the best forward on the ice.
Yeah, exactly, by far. Austin Matthews had some really good scoring chances. I think Korpisalo played a fantastic game also. He snagged the glove a couple of times. Yeah, so, we might have some problem with we have 10 more minutes, guys. So we'll get this done in 10 minutes, all right, guys? But anyway, sure. Yeah, so just Austin Matthews had 24 minutes of ice time, whereas Tavares had 19, and Marner, I guess, having played with Tavares, Marner had also 20. So I guess I just think it's really interesting to see Austin Matthews as a forward getting 24 minutes of ice time also, and that just shows, I guess, that he was the best forward by far.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead,
sorry, that was just the right call. That was just the right call. He was feeling it that game. He had absolutely negative for us, especially somebody that has a positive for COVID. You couldn't tell. And he was the star of the game there. And I mean, he was millimeters away from tying the game, right? And on that one tee, which I'm sure you saw on the highlight reel, that was a beautiful opportunity. And but I mean, it's a game of inches, just like every other sport. But and then you got to give credit to the netminder there. He had an unbelievable game.
And
so,
speaking of net minding, though, in my
I can't pronounce his name, so
Korpisalo.
Thank you.
Yeah, I believe honestly that in a game where Korpisalo is performing at that high of a level, Freddie, deserves credit for making the really good saves that he made, and he had to stand tall, right? But I think that goal that he gave up was not the type of goal that you want to see your star caliber goalie giving up in a tight playoff game like that either, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, you would never want that, but even similar to the Carey Price goal yesterday again with Crosby coming in, you don't want to give those goals up, but they're going to happen. They're like a goal like that, one goal, it's going to happen. And for the Leafs, that's probably the least of your concern. You're a team that is built to win 7-6 games, not 1-0 games like the days of Babcock coaching.
Absolutely.
So a goal like that can go in. What's the biggest issue is that somehow none went in on their side. And that's something you've got to come out and fix coming game 2.
If Andy played like that every game, Andy could let a goal in like that every single game, and they could win the Stanley Cup. Like, it's just – but we need to score.
I'm pretty sure you can't win the Stanley Cup by losing every game 1-0 or 2-0.
2-0. You know what I mean. It's like we won't be – like you need to assume that the Leafs are going to put up more than 0 goals a game, right? With that all-star lineup with the scoring capability they have. But it's disappointing. But I as Ethan said, I can't wait for them to take a 3-0 lead in the first and just shut down all the critics.
But here's the thing, though. Here's what I see. John Tortorella being like John Tortorella honestly is one of my favorite coaches. I know a lot of people hate John Tortorella, but I love John Tortorella. And
he's my favorite coach.
Oh yeah, great. So, but his style of with his system of just being opportunistic in terms of offense, but then just committing to playing sound defensively is, I think, a very bad matchup for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, to do anything in the series, will have to exploit that going forward. Whether it's being even more aggressive on the forecheck, whether it's being even more creative or whatever it is offensively, they're going to have an answer for John Tortorella's game, because I think John Tortorella's system is perfect at containing this Toronto Maple Leafs offense with the way they attack. And
absolutely. I mean, probably the worst matchup you could find is the Leafs. Yeah, the worst matchup you could have if you're the Leafs is a team that is going to clog the neutral zone, pressure you when you're in your own zone, be full of big guys who don't necessarily have a lot of speed, but they're going to be able to smother you across the boards and really slow down the game. And the Leafs just want something high-flying that is going absolutely wild. And you have John Tortorella, who's maybe coaching better than he ever has, who's potentially a little bit more mellow than he ever has been as well. And I think those two things together, if he doesn't win a Jack Adams at some point, I'm going to be very surprised, because what he's been able to do with this organization this year, and now that they're all back and healthy, what they're going to be able to do, the Leafs have to watch out.
I mean, John Tortorella is a Stanley Cup, so I think that's better than a Jack Adams award.
Well, yeah, but he also started getting
I'm sure
a lot
he would say the same thing
at the end, his end of his tenure in Vancouver. But it was like he
was never meant for Vancouver, in my opinion. He was just never meant for Vancouver. It never worked out.
But I think he really proved himself again when he came back to the Blue Jackets. I think he had a lot of skepticism and a lot of doubt. And then that playoff series in Tampa showed what he can do. Are you can't credit it to the all-star cast that Columbus has, because they don't have that all-star cast. My goodness, he came up to the front and he showed that he is a coach that can take a team, any team, to the Stanley Cup, similar to Bill Belichick over in the NFL. But we'll talk about the NFL another day.
Well, yeah, exactly. And actually, we do have under 5 minutes remaining in this episode already. So let's get right into the predictions. All right. So. As Ryan posted on his screen right there, we have Ethan's very wrong predictions thus far. So Ethan's, so Ethan's.
I just want to be clear: nobody can have a right prediction at this point. Only some predictions can be wrong.
Correct, and you are the only one that can have wrong predictions so far.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair.
So Ethan, so far, just to recap, has Leafs in 5, Penguins in 3, Islanders in 5, Rangers in 4. Jets in 5, Oilers in 3, Canucks in 4, Preds in 4. Ryan has Pens in 4, Canes in 5, Panthers in 5, Jackets in 5, Oilers in 4, Preds in 4, Canucks in 5, Jets in 4, and I have Penguins in 4, Hurricanes in 5, Oilers in 4, Islanders in 4, Jets in 4, Preds in 5, Jackets in 5, and Canucks in 4. So real quick, guys, just I guess to end off our show, are we keeping our predictions or are we trading our predictions?
For me, I think the only two locks that I'm willing to really stick my name out there for in my predictions are going to be the Pittsburgh sweeping the Canadiens in 3, and probably the Oilers sweeping Chicago in 3. I don't see how either one of the teams, being Montreal or Chicago, could possibly win a game remaining in the series.
You know what? I think the Ottawa Senators are going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
You know what? I'll back that as well. As long as I can hold on to this prediction, you're not going to change my mind. There is no way that Pittsburgh or Edmonton doesn't sweep.
Gary's coming in and he's like, you know what? I didn't like this playoff format. We're going to reset it and let everybody play.
Absolutely.
And then the Canadians draft Lafreniere. Yes, because we're the worst team in this qualifier.
No. You see, the Toronto is going to get Lafreniere because I did go against my own Leafs and taking the Blue Jackets to 5. And like I'm gonna stick with that one. Honestly, the one that I would change the most right now is the Canes in 5 because I'm thinking it's gonna be 4-3. So like the Canes look so strong. Mm-hmm. My goodness, I'm actually gonna stick with my Pens in 4. I can't see them losing another game.
Me too.
The Panthers is looking a little rougher, but I'm gonna hold my ground there. Oilies, you can do it. I believe in you. You still got a chance.
Maybe Connor McDavid's that good that he could go back in time and somehow will the Oilers to a win in Game 1 just because
I wouldn't put it past him. And if any fan base needs it more, it's absolutely Edmonton. They haven't had enough 100%. First-round picks.
If there's one I'm going to change, it's going to be the Jets. I mean, just losing Scheifele, and I'm assuming Line A. We don't have. Do we have any big updates on him? I'm assuming he's going to be back by next game, or is he? We're not sure yet.
I mean, the Jets still took care of business.
They did still take care of business, but it was still a very tight game. They did make a nice comeback. Don't get me wrong, but I can't see them pulling that off in Calgary. No, not in Calgary, but with Calgary for the entire series without Scheifele and Line A, depending on how long he's out. So,
I think you're flat wrong. I don't think yesterday's game was a fluke. I definitely think that they absolutely deserve. They were the better team yesterday, and they deserve to win. I think you've got goaltending that just outclasses what Calgary can put forth. And this is the playoffs. This is a 5-game series.
Not playoffs.
Hellebuck can show up 1-2 more games. I don't see how they're going to lose this one.
These are playoffs with an asterisk, but I'll give you that.
Yeah, so that's why the Leafs beat the Blue Jackets. They still would have not won a playoff series in 15 years.
I know. Here we go. The Habs.
So anyway, on that note, we're running out of time here, guys. But hey, this was really, really fun, and I look forward to doing this again sometime soon. So thank you so much for joining our show, guys. This has been a live episode, a live roundtable episode of Langerr at the Mic. And if you like what you saw, give us a like. And subscribe to my channel at Mike Langerr. Twitter and Instagram will be included in the link below. And thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you guys at the next episode of Langerr at the Mic.
Oilers in 3.